Alright, so before we get into this video, I want to make a disclaimer. First, I cuss, so you should know that. Two, this is for beginners and intermediate level people, because like my second part to this is a visual learning and educative moment, I guess, where like I actually go into one of the programs that you use to animate 2D, which is Sticknodes, and I show intermediate level stuff. But at the beginning for part one, I just list beginner level stuff. But everything I listed, I did in the intermediate level. I just talk about and focus on the intermediate stuff a little bit more than I wish I did. You know what I mean? But yeah, everything in the first part as a beginner, like, trust me, it's gonna make you be at that level where like you can at least understand or almost understand the things I'm telling you for part two. So like, keep that in mind. And the third part is that this video is long, so like if you're not serious about getting better, then you're probably gonna click off at some point. But yeah, I'm just letting you know. So yeah, I'll leave it to the rest of the video. Alright, so before we get into this, things you should know. One, for the visual learners, I'm gonna actually show y'all an animation with all the keyframes and in-betweens. So basically the finished product of the animation. Then I'm gonna show y'all a keyframe only to explain better everything that I give in detail in this tutorial, I guess. And also, if you're not trying to be better or want to be better, then you probably shouldn't watch this, because it's a lot of detail. It's more than any tutorial I've ever watched on YouTube about this. I didn't just, copy things I hear people say. Like, I animated for 2 months straight, no break. I promise you, no break. And then I made a video on everything I've learned. So yeah, this is a lot. So if you're not serious about it, then this is a waste of time. But yeah, other than that, there's everything you need. So yeah, that's it. Alright, so understanding what you want to animate, such as scripting, keyframing, and prepping for the animation, is the first step to having a basic animation. And when I say basic animation, I mean like a smooth animation that's not complex, but it's smooth and it looks good. You know what I mean? It's pleasing, like somebody could actually sit down and finish the video. So let's get into it. So what does the first step mean, and which of these steps are needs? By scripting, I mean virtually or physically writing out ideas such as fighting stances, conversations, and etc., which in a way ties into prep, but I will go into prep a bit more in depth. Just it's more than scripting, you know what I mean? There's so much to prep, and I'll explain it later, but for now, that's not what we're talking about. So let's move on. This part makes no sense at all, because it is like 6:30 a.m. and I've been up since 11 writing this script. So we gonna hustle through this, you know what I mean? We gonna thug it out. So keyframing is when you make what's supposed to be poses possesses poses before the important and final motion of actions, instead of adding extra frames or even doing it. What I was meant to say is doing it frame by frame without animating the end result to know how your figure should move or the intention of its planned final pose / motion. Huh? That's the best way I could have reworded whatever the hell that was I was saying. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say here is that keyframing is when you add what's important or something significant, instead of doing like the little in-betweens, which are like just like, for example, let's say you're walking, right, and you add the slightly moving forward and then the slightly moving more forward. Those are in-betweens. Keyframes are the before you stepped and then the step you took. That's a keyframe. Yeah, that's the best way I could put that. All right, so which are necessary? Keyframes, which I should have stated, are the final and most important step out of the beginning of an animation. It is more of a necessity because it helps with knowing how you should appropriately move into your important pose or motion. Now, after saying all of this, it is not a deal breaker on if you can animate smoothly, but if you are a beginner, I strongly recommend making this a habit. Like, I'm so dead serious. Like, dude, put your important frames first, finish that entire animation doing your important frames, then add the in-betweens, bro. Like, what you doing, huh? What you doing, bro? Like, the reason I say that is because you're not going to be able to predict exactly how your stick figure is going to look after you're done a motion that you were planning to animate. You know what I mean? Like, you could assume, you could have an educated guess, you could, you know what I mean? You could imagine it, but you're not gonna know. You just won't, because that's the future. You know what I mean? Even if it's the close future. So do the frames first, and I promise you, you will get the most realistic, most smooth looking animation compared to if you did it pose by pose. Like I said, though, it's not a deal breaker. Some professional animators don't do this, but lots do this. So I'm just saying, keyframes, yeah, do that. Anyways, so scripting is not necessary, though it helps, especially as a beginner or a beginner level animator. When I say that, by the way, I mean like you've been animating, but like you're still at that beginner level. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing. It's a good thing for that. But keep all that in mind. Freestyle imagination does not have to break or make an animation. It all depends on your creativity. Now, I put this in brackets. Not saying scripting is not great, because regardless on your imagination, knowing what you want will always improve an animation, the process of an animation, but not necessary. I think what I was trying to say there is that it's not necessary. So yeah. But I'll state this actually before I move on. What I wanted to say before when I was reading that was that in my experience, planning or scripting has never broke an animation. Like, you know what I mean? It's never gave me a disadvantage, always an advantage. So I mean, why would you not do it? But yeah, that's just my opinion. It's not necessary. So yeah, we'll move on. Now, after I've described what prepping is, fuck the script, fuck what I wrote down, I don't care, bro. I will slap the shit out of you if you ask me if that shit's necessary or not. What the fuck is wrong with you, nigga? What do you mean? Like, fuck out of here. So moving on. Second step to basic animation. I'm gonna list this in order this time, but in betweens, camera movement, then finally sounds. That sounded like a fucking nerd saying that. What does the second stage mean? And whoa, and are the what? I don't even know what that means in the script. Okay, are they necessary? I just didn't finish that sentence. I see.
You are made of stupid.
Okay, in-betweens are the frames before and after your important motion or pose, also known as keyframes. Really not much to say about it or to even understand, but it's the frames that makes the animation look smooth after you add them in. So what that means, I mean, it's self-explanatory, because I mean, everybody knows the word in between means. So I'm not gonna, yeah, you know. So camera movement, that's another self-explanatory one, as I'll state in the sentence or the script or whatever. But like, we don't get into this because it has a little, you know what I mean? So camera movement is a self-explanatory one, but it's more to it. For example, in the animation I'm about to show you, I keep that camera focus on the center mass of the figure, which in return can add many benefactors. These benefactors I'll list off, but that's in a minute here. So yeah, it sucks to suck. I guess this in a minute here comes really fast, because sounds, another explanatory one. And I ain't gonna bore you with that shit. Like, what? You understand what that means? Sound effects. Like, what? So here we get into the really detailed parts again. I think this one about, let's see. Yeah, it's about in-betweens. So in-betweens are obviously a necessity, but if you are having issues with smooth animation, then there's a high chance you are lacking or overusing keyframes. Also, whoa, that's not true. That's not true at all. Okay, I made a typo. I did not mean to say keyframes. You're overusing in-betweens. Also animating in a low FPS. There is no other reason besides the lack of easing, which is more intermediate level animation kind of guy thing, you know, type shit. And we aren't there. We aren't just there yet. What the fuck? That's me. That's rude. Regardless, what some people will say about easing, your animation should at least look remotely smooth, which should be your goal as a beginner or beginner level animator. So I guess I should break this down a little bit. But what I'm trying to say here is that in betweens, they're a necessity. That's one. You should get out of that. Two, if you're having unsmooth animations, you're doing one or two things. You're either having a lack of in-betweens or you're having too many in-betweens. And you'll understand a bit more about in-betweens as I show you me going over the video I animated and the keyframes I used in it. And then I think I go over the in-betweens a little bit, but like you'll see, you'll get it. For my visual learners, I got you. And the last part is I was saying easing is an intermediate kind of level kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's not for beginners, even though it's in almost damn near every beginner tutorial I've seen. It's not. Like, making something look realistic is not for a beginner. Like, that's not for a beginner. Making something look smooth, that is beginner level. That's how you start to get into that intermediate level, so you can start easing. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll move on. Camera movement. Kind of excited for this one. In short-term necessity, no doubt. So I read that quick because I wanted to say I dead ass was excited for this. Like, because I've not seen a single person touch this topic for a beginner level at all. I've never seen it in a tutorial at all for animation, to be honest with you, but I'm sure somewhere out there it just ain't common. But especially if you are animating an action scene, I've never animated something, then added camera movement and was like, no, this isn't better. Deadass. Just never happened. Even the smallest details improve my animations, which almost feels like a cheat code in a way. To list some of the ways you can use camera movement, for example, camera wobble, very minute details, but in situations where if your character is talking, then making the small shake but steady movement around your character makes the animation seem less boring. Damn, and this sentence still goes on, and sometimes cinematic. Then there is things such as what I did in the animation I will show you just in a little bit, but you keep the camera pointed position to the center mass of the character, making the camera move fluently with the character, meaning your character will never be out of frame or on the edge of the frame. I'm not saying either of these are necessities. I'm just saying that examples of this necessity in order to not bore the people that watch animation or just in general look like you might be beginner, because the goals here with all the animation is to work towards intermediate level, not to stay at beginner level. You know what I mean? Feel me? Type shit. So I promise this is almost over, then we'll get into the visual learning. But finally, sound. I won't bore you, but I still will say this. If you don't add at least a little bit of effects such as footsteps, whoosh movement, etc., I will fall asleep to your animation. I promise. I swear to God. Now I'm aware that Sticknodes Pro is money and the default doesn't allow you to animate to use sounds? Yeah, no. It doesn't allow you to use sounds, which is a total drag, but having an iPhone would be the only reason to not having Pro
Artlist
because
IO.
Android, at least for the time being, has APKs, which are apps downloadable through any browser, meaning that you can download the Pro without having to buy it. So get the damn Pro and entertain the fucking people, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, bro. Okay. But listen to this part. This part's important. YouTube, listen to this shit. Ralph, listen. Okay, let me explain myself. After saying all of this, I am not telling you should pirate because I bought the Pro, and in no way I'm responsible if you don't. Especially given the fact that Ralph earned the couple bucks that he requires from us individually during one-time payments for the Pro. It's an amazing work he did, and at least we can do the least we can do is support him. Oh yeah, and iPhone users such as myself, we don't have the freedom, bro. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, we don't got the freedom to do what Android does. We don't got APKs, son. We don't got that. We gotta buy that shit. Alright, so in conclusion, after everything I've said, they're all necessities, okay? 100%. Like second stage, that's not an option, alright? Don't fuck about it. Do what you gotta do, nigga. Alright, so final step. We're almost done. We're about to get to the animation, but this is the easiest part. Actually,
Artlist IO.
why did I say actually? But the most important, cleaning up. Yeah, what do I mean by cleaning up? Once you're done animation, you're not actually done. For example, rewatch it several times. You'll see that you freaking might be in a wrong angle. Maybe you make a punch. Maybe you can make a punch look stronger, camera more fluent or cinematic if that's what you're going for. These are just many different issues you can catch before it's too late and you already posted the animation. Even after you clean up, you might find issues, but at least it won't be as many if you do the steps of cleaning up seriously. Dude, like there's so much, like I tried so hard to not have chromatic errors. Is that the term? Yeah, that's the term. But man, type shit. Those are all the steps. We're getting ready for the visual learners, everybody that don't want to hear all of that shit, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'ma get into the fields, show you what this life about, you know what I mean? Like, fuck is you talking about, nigga? Like, let's really get there. Like, fuck is you doing? All right, so this is on 10 FPS right now. I recommend y'all never have a final animation on 10 FPS, only when you're doing keyframes and you just want to see how it looks like. Yes, you can do it on 10 FPS then. But if you're doing a fight scene like I'm doing, or like a combo practice or whatever, just fighting stuff, 24 FPS, okay? First thing, we'll get that out of the way right now. 24 FPS. Or 22, maybe. That's the lowest I'll go, personally. But 24 FPS, sweet spot for me. So, anyways, I have him in neutral pose, where he's just facing forward right away in the first frame, and then in the second frame I have him moving a little bit to like go in his fighting stance. And as you can see in this frame, he's changed. He's changed his angle. He's facing a 45-degree towards the camera in a way angle. You know what I mean? So he's 45 degrees facing towards the camera. Not all the way facing it, but slightly facing it. And then he hits the ground. And these are just keyframes. These are not no in-betweens at all. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. Just keyframes so you can know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Hopefully I explained that before. But anyways, after that, after he hits the ground, I double frame it so it could stand out a bit more, and which it does. You know what I mean? And after that, he goes for a punch, and I keep it inside the seam. Okay, that was strange. It told me that it was over in the recording, but it didn't. Anyways, I keep it inside the seam angle, and The reason I did that is because I want to be able to add in-betweens so I can make this look smoother when he's going for his punch. So I keep it inside the same angle, but he's moving forward to go for his punch. And then he changes his angle once he gets halfway there. And as you can see, which is something I don't see a lot of people doing, it which bugs me a lot, I have his back start to face the camera almost whilst he throws that right jab, because technically speaking, your body should twist into a punch. It shouldn't just, you know what I mean, be facing forward and then go forward like that. You know what I mean? That's just not how a punch looks. At least not a cross or like a good jab. You know what I mean? You twist your body a bit even for a good jab. Like you don't twist it the way you twist for a cross, but you twist it a bit for a jab. So I have it twist, you know what I mean? So I have his back start to face the camera a little bit, and then here's something I almost skipped over and did not tell y'all. One of the important things when you're making stick figures that meant for fighting scenes and stuff like that, make them smart stretch so you could do this. You know what I mean? Have the punch almost go forward instead of like go like this. Hold on, I'll put in an angle right now. Go like that. You don't want your punch going like that. Okay, I don't like doing that. Only if I'm going for like a low body shot will I ever do that. But yeah, that's just a personal thing. So have it on smart stretch. I'll explain all of that in another video for the intermediates or the experts, I guess. Maybe I haven't decided yet. But yeah, after that, I have him finally do his punch, and I wasn't too sure if I wanted it in between here for the punch, because like you want a punch to look fast, you know what I mean, and strong as well, but fast. So I added the same angle of him facing his back a little bit, which either way I would have done that, but if I didn't, what's the word? If I didn't know it or not, if I wanted it to ease in, I would have not kept this angle in this frame. I would have kept this angle and just have him slightly facing that way more with his legs going up and this leg straighter. You know what I mean? But I wasn't too sure, so I made this angle again before I did that. Before I final the punch, I made two of the same angles, so I could add it in between if I wanted it. Then, anyways, after I was done that, I double framed it because I wanted it to stand out. I hope I mentioned that earlier, that I double framed over here. If I didn't, I did. Okay. But yeah, it stands out a bit more. I don't know if I explained it. Is what I should have said. It stands out a bit more when you double frame something. So just keep that in mind. Right after, I had him go into his stance for. I think this looks like this is getting ready for a kick. I don't recall throwing. Yeah, I don't recall showing you all the first punch or the second punch, but I guess that was the second punch. So, anyways, yeah, he goes into the kickstand like he's loading it. You know what I mean? And it's inside the same angle as this, so I could have in betweens to make it more smoothly go into that stance. You know what I mean? So yeah, it has the same angle, and then as he's going for the kick, it stays in the same angle. So once again, I could have in betweens as he's moving from the stance to go towards the knee. You know what I mean? And then after that, he goes into facing forward degree. I don't know what angle that would be in degrees, but he's facing completely forward. So yeah, that's all I could say. And then after that, he goes into his knee, which he's inside a 45 degree, facing his back towards the camera angle, whatever that would be called. As you can see, I used 360s. I made this character. It's a original character. So I use 360s a lot because it helps make my fighting scenes more realistic. And here's something I'll tell y'all that, like, I mean, it's not a big deal. No one's gonna notice if I don't say anything. But like, he should not be facing his back here only because this is his back foot. So yeah, don't make this mistake. I noticed it after I was done the project. I was like, his back should not be turned, but that's fine. Yeah, see, this is a commentator version of me now. If I had cleaned up, like I said, final step, that would not be a problem. I would have noticed that right away, but I didn't clean up. So I missed one of the steps, and now I got a problem that's gonna bother me. So yeah, there you go. It's already done. It is what it is. But just keep that in mind. Keep in mind where like how you would look like if you were doing something you're animating. You know what I mean? Just keep that in like you know what I mean on your head. And after he's getting out of the kick into his stance, I keep him in the same angle. So once again, I could add in betweens so he could smoothly get out of that kick. And he hits the ground into facing forward position. And I thought that this might have been too much of a big jump. And I wasn't too sure if I would have had to come back to the keyframes. But it's not. It's really not. For 24, it looks smooth. So thank God. But yeah, here's another thing. We're coming to the end here, but here's another thing. Um, what I didn't do is I didn't show him having impact when he touches the ground. What I mean by that is that when he touched the ground, he should have went like after he had hit touch it, he should have went like this a little bit. You know what I mean? Like show that he hit something solid and it's pushing him. You know what I mean? Just some gravity stuff, you know, some gravity stuff. Let's just put it like that. You could clearly see what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he just gravity stuff. And then he goes up. So keep that in mind as well. Gravity stuff. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, after he hits the ground, he goes up into a fighting position and I double frame that because I wanted that to stand out. And if I didn't show you all how it looks on 10 FPS, this is how it looks on 10 FPS. Just keyframes, no in betweens. Yeah, this looks like it looks like some animations because I've noticed a lot of people animations what they don't even know about their own animation is that you're just doing keyframes. Like you're not actually adding in betweens. And I'm gonna explain the difference between keyframes, extremes, and in betweens, intermediate level. I believe intermediate level is where you should learn that. You know what I mean? And I'll make that video real soon. I'm just making this video first because you should know the basics before you know intermediate shit. You know what I mean? It's the process. Got to go through the process. So yeah, I commentator me again. So I did actually teach all about this afterwards, and because I made this video before making the little script I made. No, yeah, that's it, that's it. So yeah, I did teach you guys this because I figured that if you don't know what an in between and a keyframe is, how are you supposed to make a smooth animation? Like I'm setting you up for failure. So I thought, yeah, I might as well teach you that at the beginning. Also, there's a lot of stuff in this that's intermediate level. Like a lot of this video, as I'm looking back at it, is intermediate level. Like the 360, the degrees, impact, stuff like that. That's intermediate level. So like if you don't get this right away, that's okay. I'll explain it a bit more in depth when I make the intermediate level tutorial. But yeah, I thought you should know. But yeah, now that I've shown y'all the keyframes, I'll show y'all the final project, even though I probably showed y'all in the beginning of the video. I'll just show y'all a few stuff. First, here's how it looks like. So, like I told y'all earlier, how I was doing, I did two. Remember, I did two of these, two frames in the same angle. It was these two, but I added it in between right here so he could smoothly go into that fighting stance. And I kept the double frame, and then I added the in between into the. I want to say, no, I added two in between. So I would assume right here I don't even know which one is what. But yeah, I added two in betweens. Yeah, let's just know it. Okay, I see. These are the two keyframes. These are the two keyframes. I added one in between, which is probably this, and then I added it in between in the middle of these two, which is this. And it looks smooth. Like it looks like it makes sense. You know what I mean? And I just did that for like the whole thing. I'm not gonna go through this whole thing with y'all because it's 40 some, and I'm sure y'all don't wanna. Y'all just ain't here for that. So yeah, I think I've told y'all everything someone should know in basic training or basic knowledge for animation, and that's 22 to 24 FPS, double framing, keeping an idea on what angle you should be facing. Once again, it's different with. No, I didn't say this. I said this in the first time I tried to record this video. I should have said this to y'all before. It's different for like a basic stick that's like all one color and not a custom original character, which is called the OC. You don't have a 360 version. You gotta go about that stick a little bit different. I'll make a video on it. I'll tell y'all how to do that. I got y'all. Don't even worry about it. But yeah, it's a little bit different. But for these custom characters, have a 360 for that character. So have an idea on which angle you're in, or which angle you should be in. Double frame, and I said that FPS. I told y'all that. And then there's one more thing. All right. Always add two of the same angles so you could have that in between to make it look more smooth. I didn't add a in between here because it's a punch. It gotta look fast. You know what I mean? But like for other incidents or anyways, so for other situations, uh yeah, you gotta have two of the same frames. Just so you can add in betweens in that frame after you're done the keyframes and everything like that, and you could make it look more smooth. So yeah, that's basically all. I'll explain the more intermediate stuff when I make the intermediate video. If y'all are wondering what that's gonna be like, I'm gonna be explaining keyframes a bit more in depth, extremes a bit more in depth, which I don't know if I brought that up in this video yet. Beat in betweens. I know it for sure. I've been saying that a lot, but in betweens. And then I'm just gonna show you all a harder combo to do, because this is a basic combo. Like the 1-2 with the knee. You know what I mean? Like nothing big about that. Everybody could do that, I'm sure. As long as y'all follow these steps, y'all could do that. Easy. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna make a harder combo than that for the next video. And then for the pro video, or whatever I'm gonna call it, the expert video, whatever I wanna call it, I'm gonna make a way harder combo than both of those. But yeah, y'all gonna see. So just, you know, subscribe, and y'all will get the information y'all are looking for. So yeah, anyways, I'll see y'all later. I'll leave it to future me. So yeah, peace.